Dunham Howie, and I'm the host of Her Voice. Welcome. Today, I am pleased to have with me Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam. Senator Pulliam represents District 44 in Baltimore City and Baltimore County. We have a great show in store for you, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Her Voice. I am so pleased today to be joined by Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam. Senator Nathan Pulliam represents Baltimore City and Baltimore County, District 44. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
The first thing that we want to do, Senator, is help people get an understanding of who you are and how you come to this. So if you could share with us a little bit about your resume.
Well, my resume would probably tell you that I was born in Jamaica, went to school in Yorkshire, England, married in Yorkshire, and found my way to Baltimore via my husband, and graduated from Community College of Baltimore, the University of Maryland, and Johns Hopkins with my master's. I'm a registered nurse, as I said, by profession, and with over 50 years of nursing experience. Some of the things that I'm most proud of in my resume is my work on not only on immigrant issues, but my getting $2.6 million annually in the budget to provide diagnosis and treatment for low-income women with breast cancer, and also $500,000 for again the underserved community, black men. Well, it's really black men or other underserved communities of men, because they had a high oral cancer rate. You know, those who smoke a lot and drink a lot, you know, have a high cancer. And then one of the things I'm one of the visionary pioneers at University of Maryland School of Nursing. And beyond that, they have an endowment in my name. And I have been named three times by the Circle of Excellence, by the Daily Record, for the 100, you know, each year for 100 women, and to the Circle of Excellence.
Wonderful.
So you want me to go on? And I have numerous awards to show my work that I've been doing. I specialize in racial and ethnic disparities. As a nurse, I tend to champion most healthcare legislation.
So tell us, you have this wonderful experience with the healthcare industry and being a registered nurse. How did you end up in politics?
Oh, that's another great story, but I don't think you have time to list. But what happened is that one day when I was giving nursing care at Bonsecourt Hospital, surprisingly they're here today, at Bonsecourt Hospital, we were very short-staffed, and I went into a room to assist with bathing a patient I was a charge nurse on. When I went in, she had a compound fracture of her arm, so it was in a sling and in a cast. And so I went to help her by washing under her axilla pit. As I went up there, I felt her breast was hard as a stone. I asked her how long this had been, and she said it had been like that because she was unemployed and had no health insurance.
Wow. I
said, oh my gosh. I said, sweetheart, it's not the arm that's your problem. The breast is. She said, oh, please don't tell anybody. I said, sweetheart, I have to. Immediately, I watched that lady lose the first breast, the second breast, through chemo and radiation until the day she died. That resonated with me. And I said, you know, there ought to be a law. So I ran on quality and access to health care. And my theme was a nurse for your political health. That's how I started. But then I belonged to a lot of organizations. And there's a man by Leopold Edwards, lived in Silver Spring, that's always said that as an immigrant, you need to get involved on boards and commission. You need to find out you got kids, they're going to school, you're paying taxes, you need to be involved. And so this is how the second push for me to become involved politically.
Now, what year was that? When did you first come in office?
You know, the first time I ran was in 1986. I had run on the ticket with Sandy Rosenberg, who's still in there, and Jim Campbell. I lost by a very narrow margin. And then I decided in 1990 I wouldn't do anything, but I ran for the Democratic State Central Committee. And so I learned party politics. And then in 1994, there was a redistricting, and the new district was formed, and there was nobody to fight. So, of course, there were 21 people, yes, that came in, but because I was already out there, I knew. And Senator Kelly put me on her ticket at the time. She was the new first black senator running over in Baltimore County. So I was representing Baltimore County and Baltimore City then. And so that's basically how I ran. Okay.
Well, tell me, so you've been serving since 1994. Why do you want to continue serving, Senator?
Because I have so many things, and I ask myself that. I had initially decided I wasn't going to run again after my spine surgery this past year because it's been very difficult trying to get around.
Yes.
But I realized two things. Number one, if I sit down and had nothing to do or to move, that's where they'd find me sitting down. Because when I'm sitting down, I'm not in pain. But beyond that, I had so many important issues in my community and as a healthcare person, with all the changes in the government and all of that, I decided that I still have more work to do. And so that is one of the reasons. And if you look at the bills that I put forth, my bill created the Office of Minority Health and Health Disparity in 2004. So a lot of the bills that I put forth, the things that they have to do, have, infant mortality, and in African American babies and in the rural areas are almost 3 times that of white babies. And so that's one of my bills that I've put in. I'm dealing with one with hepatitis C right now. I don't know if it's coming out, but again, hepatitis C is contagious just like HIV/AIDS. And what they're doing is that if they have Medicaid, they're only starting treating them when they get to the final stages, when the liver is involved.
Oh, wow.
So what happened? They're young, not a young men, so they're out probably having sex, doing whatever else is going on out there. And so it will be spreading the disease rather than making sure we get it right away. I know it costs money, but there's a cure. If they can get 8 to 12 treatments for about $25,000 with a reduction of about 23% from the federal government rebate. So one case of liver cancer will triple that. Or one case of where they have to have a liver transplant will be about $570,000.
Wow.
Something like that. So to tell you that we need to pay attention.
Yes.
So this is why I'm here. Now, I'm here for all of those issues that we continually miss. The Nursing Home Oversight Committee and Nursing Home Quality of Care is another one that I'm working on right now.
Well, tell me though, what has been your most important accomplishment since you've been in the legislature?
Creating that Office of Minority Health and Health Disparity in 2004 and setting up a statewide planning to address this issue.
And what does that office do, the Office of Minority Health?
The Office of Minority Health does many things. They go after grants. They have been able to, for a period of time, they reduce cessation smoking and cancer because they have a program called MOTOR, Minority Outreach and Technical Assistance Program, that is funded through that office to go out and work with grassroots people. They've also set up pregnancy navigators, which is probably what I need again in this bill on infant mortality. Pregnancy navigators will actually take these teenage mothers and stuff and get them to the doctors, get them to make sure so that they have healthy babies. Because one low birth weight baby can run you up easily $10,000 a week.
A week?
A week.
Wow.
And more.
Wow.
Okay. So these are some of the real issues. So that office does it. It also has a charge to teach cultural competency and health literacy to a lot of the professional boards and to get that information out to their members.
So for your campaign here in 2018, what is your platform?
My platform has always been the same platform that I've had for all these years. It has to do, it's healthcare, education, economic development, public safety. Not necessarily in that order, especially with what's going on in Baltimore right now, public safety rise all the way up.
Yeah.
But those are my platform. Those are the things that I've worked hard. And I serve on the Education, Health, and the Environment Matters Committee. And the environment is very important to me as well. So I've already been endorsed by the environmental organization, the Teachers Union, and several others.
So what change are you seeking to make if you get back into office?
What change? I think I would like to make more a change so that I can educate I have a bill that passed the House, the Senate already, hope to be passed the House next week. It's on reconciliation and equity. It's a conversation on race. Also the one on social determinants of health. So I see myself into this year and into the next year working on health in all policy, which is another one that says that every agency needs to have a policy that's address health. Okay, if it's housing, they need to have one on molds and asbestosis and all the things that make people sick. If it's transportation, they need to have something, a policy that speaks to they pick up dialysis patients, they pick up cancer patients, mobility for the elderly. If they don't have those policies, then they would leave that person sitting on the side of the street still waiting to be picked up. And if they miss getting their dialysis, it's a tremendous detriment on their life. And so I have a lot of things that I'm already working on now that will take me far into. And Morgan State University will be convening the one I have on the reconciliation and equity, Dr. Winbush, in the research. And Raymond, he's a fantastic guy. And so we've been working, and the health and all policy, I've partnered with University of Maryland at College Park. And the social determinants of health, which is just passed the Senate, I'm going to have to go over and defend it in the House. Dr. Perman and the president of University of Maryland at Baltimore, I decided to convene it. But we have been working on it anyhow for the last three or 4 years, starting I think two months before Freddie Gray. So we've been working on that issue. So there's so much to do in social determinants of health.
Oh yes.
In our district, meaning high unemployment, homelessness, poor conditions of schools. We know all about that because we're just working on a $30 million project to see if we can clean up some of that problem. And so
we are going to take a break, and we will be right back.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome back. Now tell me, do you think bipartisanship can really work?
I think bipartisanship can work, but sometimes on issues we're far apart. We're so far apart. Sometimes they used to say that we think Democrats and Republicans come from two different planets because you cannot believe that they can see some of the same thing before their eyes, and I don't believe that is a problem. Okay, and so that's where one of the things that may keep us apart. But I think on certain issues, we do work together. I did the Henrietta Lacks, putting up the highway, named the highway after Henrietta Lacks, and I went over and talked to my Republican colleague and said, hey, you want to go on this bill with me? Let's do this stuff together. So there's certain things you can work together on.
It's finding that common ground.
Find the common ground is something that that you can convince them is important. Like one of the members got up on the floor today and talked about, obviously didn't understand what equity is, or the equity lens and how you look at things from a perspective of race, and looking at it from whether you're Chinese or Indian or, you know, American Indian or black or whatever, looking through those lenses, you should be able to see what America looks like, what the state of Maryland looks like. Okay, and so, you know, all of those issues are vitally important.
Now, there have been some people talking about the fact that we have quite a few, I would call you elder states folks, and they say, you know, the millennials say it's our time. And how do you respond to that when they say, you've done enough, let us now come and take over?
And you know, I'm not beating up the millennials. I think they're fairly well right. He's one of them sitting over there. The problems with millennials, they don't listen. You have to send them a text or you have to send them an email. Okay, that's all millennials. I've discovered my granddaughters and stuff. And if I send her a text and send her an email, they'll listen to me. If I give the instruction, they don't hear it. There's so much that they have to learn to be, because this is a job about listening. It's about hearing people's problem. It's about figuring how you can solve it and what you can do. Now, I know there are many of them that are running against us. I have an opponent as well. But, you know, I think that this is my 24th year. And yes, and this will be my last election. But I am convinced that I still have much more to give. And as long as my health can keep me moving, then I'm moving. Because I have other people in there that are in their 80s, and some of them are brighter than some of the folks on that floor. When you hear Senator Kelly get up on that floor and start challenging and giving this stuff, you've got to stop and listen. She reads, she understands, she's bright, she's sharp, she's, you know, and she may be in her 80s, but that doesn't stop her.
Right.
Okay, so I don't think we need to put age on it. I think if you're in good health, if my health is fine, I'll be there. If my health isn't, then I won't be. Okay, and that's basically how I'm looking at it.
Good. So, when you think about what's going on in the world today, what keeps you up at night?
Stress and anxiety about the condition of what's going on in the world. I have grandchildren, and I have grandson, and I have these young people, like my chief of staff. It's Morgan, he's in his 20s. I have an intern, just graduated from Cornell. And Cameron is in his 20s. I'd like to see those young men grow up, to be healthy, you know, young men that can really give back to society. It's kind of hard for them to really do it when they're worried about if they're going to be shot when they're walking down the street, or police is going to pull them over, for no reason at all. There's so many things that are frightening about what's going on. And then the blatant, you know, there was a time that if somebody didn't like you, they would keep it to themselves. But now they come right out and call you all names and tell you what they don't like. And you see a different environment that's going on. It reminds me when I first came to this country back in 1960. And when I looked around, I didn't see in the fire departments and the police station, I didn't see people that looked like me. And I asked those questions because I came from an island where people look like me. Okay, but as we grow, and America is in fact a land of opportunity, and it is one of the most wealthy countries in the world. But it's not for everybody if the color of your skin happens to be black. And so for that reason, the blatancy of the or we'll say conscious and unconscious bias, it is still there, wide open. And this is one of the reasons for the reconciliation and equity. I think I need to be able to reach across the aisle and say, so she can see my differences and my similarities and how we can come together. So those are some real issues.
For real. Who's your personal hero?
My personal hero, my mama. my mother, she's gone now. But and my dad too. My dad was very it was a no-nonsense kind of guy. But my mom was somebody I could talk to. Okay, I could have really good conversations with her. And she was a self-made kind of woman too, who was a very attractive lady who, you know, she was a buyer of a large department store. And she she did a lot of interesting things. So although I came from a little Caribbean island that they call the third world country, my parents were my father was a contractor builder, my mother was you know, as I said, as a department manageress of the department store and a buyer. So I had a different lifestyle. And when I look at my ex-husband, the man that I married, and people say, well, we come from different, we look alike, but we come from different cultures. Okay, my father and mother every day was about education. What you gonna do? How you gonna? And here I'm a dyslexic child. Couldn't read, couldn't tell time, you know. But here, with perseverance, I think I persevered because I want to show my father he was wrong. But that I could in fact do it. And so for me to have gone from not able to tell time and didn't know the difference between B's and D's and M and N, to have gone to school in England, to come here and get graduated with an AA and a Bachelor of Science and a Master's degree, run for the House of Delegates and for the Senate, to me that says much about what my parents instilled in me. To the point that my father, before he died, he said to me, "Shirley, you can stop now." Okay, because, you know, so that's basically, I hope I answered your question.
You did indeed. So what is the most innovative idea that you've come up with, Senator Pulliam, and what'd you do with it?
Innovative ideas.
Innovative idea. What was one of the most innovative ideas you've had?
Well, I'm a business owner.
Well,
I'm
there
a
you
business
go.
owner. I had two healthcare companies. I just closed one this past year, Nathan's Network, which I provided personal care service in home. But I have an adult medical daycare center for the elderly and the disabled. And it was because I wanted to do it. And my mother had a stroke, and I saw how difficult it was to take care of my mother. And when I came back, I stayed with her in Jamaica, and I brought her back here. But when I realized the time and the energy, and I thought, and then going into the homes that I did in Baltimore City, and see some of the condition, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, the poor people, they would probably lay in their fecal matter if nobody was there to bathe them and feed them and take care of them. So this is how I got into those things. I thought, if I had an adult medical daycare center that smells good and look good and is bright and people can come and they can get a meal, they can get their medication, we can take them to the doctor, their quality of life would be better. And so that was the most innovative thing that I did when I thought that at my age, maybe I couldn't do it, but I did it anyhow.
Did it anyhow.
That's it.
And it's still there.
And it's still there. My son is running it. That business has provided jobs for many of my family and others. And I have probably about 14 or 15 employees in Baltimore City.
Wonderful. So tell us, this is the most important question. You're a candidate. Why should someone vote for you?
They can just look at my record over the years. Look at the quality of work I've done. I've done my math and figured that I make about 25 cents an hour because I do excellent constituent work. To me, sometimes I get with my guys and say, just give it me, I'll do it. You know, they will do it too, but sometimes just hearing on the other end of the phone, when somebody's like Elaine just told me somebody's got an electric problem, that, you know, and I can pick up the phone and call Calvin Butler, the president of BG&E, and I can say, this is the problem that I have, can you fix it? Or I can pick up the phone and call this one and that one. To me, that makes me feel good. It validates every reason why I'm here. Because when that person could have gone through a whole lot, somebody with breast cancer that can't get treatment, or a woman, oh my God, I always remember this story of this woman who was so sick, okay, she needed surgery right away, emergency, and could not get the surgery. Primarily because she didn't have medical assistance. But I was able to work and get them to move it. Okay, not a woman with a brain tumor. Okay, been able to get her so she was able to see the doctor and get the health insurance. To me, the one woman, she's so happy. She brought the whole family to meet me. Okay, but those are the kinds of things, the constituent work, good constituent work.
And these are things, these are lives that have been saved.
Yes, lives have been saved.
Because of your work.
Exactly.
Wow. Well, as we get ready to bring this interview to a close, and I really have enjoyed our time, My last question is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
Well, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a great-grandmother, and I am a mother of a recovering addict. So my life has not been as easy, but I think God put me in a certain place for certain times. And it is because of being in these places that I think I can put forth legislation, go after funding and money and things to help get people in drug treatment and in other issues. And so when I hear the problems come in and people talk about opiates and heroin addiction and cocaine addiction and all of that, for 50 years or more it's been going on in Baltimore City. We never said anything, we never did anything. We let them die. But now that it has spread into the larger community, now we have more bills on opiate than you can ever imagine. So that's one thing that I want to share, is that some of us, many of us, we may look fine, but there's a lot of things that we carry, a lot of issues and problems in our lives. And there's nobody out there that when I used to stand up and ask, does anybody know anybody who was an addict? And you'd see maybe one or two hands. No, when I said all the hands go up. Okay, so we have a big problem with addiction. And one of the bills I put in is to make sure we look at addiction as a chronic disease.
Yes.
Yeah, it has the same exacerbation and remission as any other disease. So.
Excellent, excellent. And, this year we've found that there have been so many more candidates that are women that are coming into the political race. What do you think about that influx in women candidates?
Wonderful, great. The more women we have, because if we didn't have women, the things on sexual, all of the sexual predators and all of the folks, the murders and all of the things that the domestic partner murders, most of them are women. And when we look at all of the bills over the years that have been, and the history of the trailblazers, we always talk of a woman named Pauline Menitz, and Pauline was instrumental in even getting us a bathroom.
Wow.
Because it didn't have bathroom for the women legislators. So the thing is that we as women make a difference, a tremendous difference. And for that, I think, I know Rutgers in New York would always push for more women.
Yeah.
And we in Maryland used to have one of the largest amount of women in our legislature. We headed right back there. We have more women coming, and I'm excited about that.
Excellent. Well, Senator Shirley Nathan Pulliam, I thank you for being with me today on Her Voice. It's been such a pleasure interviewing you.
Okay, thank you.
We thank you for being with us. This has been Her Voice, and I'm Jules Dunham Howey. See you next time.